In a world where the British royal family seems to constantly surprise us with unexpected revelations and candid confessions, Princess Beatrice of York has just delivered a statement that's sending shockwaves through royal circles and captivating millions around the globe. The elegant princess, known for her grace under pressure and unwavering family loyalty, has openly declared that her two greatest role models are none other than her controversial mother Sarah Ferguson and her late grandmother Queen Elizabeth II, and this admission is far more profound and revealing than you might initially think. Before we dive deep into what this means for the royal family and why this confession matters so much right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like icon, and share this video with anyone who loves royal news, because what we're about to uncover will absolutely change your perspective on one of the most fascinating families in modern history. Drop your thoughts in the comments section below because we want to hear your take on this incredible royal revelation. Princess Beatrice Elizabeth Mary, born on August 8, 1988, has always occupied a unique position within the Windsor dynasty, existing in that fascinating space between being a working royal and living a relatively private life outside the immediate spotlight that follows her cousins Prince William and Prince Harry. Growing up as the eldest daughter of Prince Andrew, Duke of York, and Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, Beatrice witnessed firsthand the brutal media scrutiny that nearly destroyed her mother's reputation and relationship with the royal establishment. The year 1996 marked a watershed moment for young Beatrice when her parents divorced amid scandalous tabloid revelations that painted her mother as everything from irresponsible to utterly inappropriate for royal life. Those photographs of Sarah Ferguson having her toes sucked by her financial advisor John Bryan while on vacation became some of the most infamous images in royal history, permanently damaging Fergie's standing with the palace and particularly with Prince Philip, who reportedly never forgave her and refused to be in the same room with her for decades afterward. Yet here stands Princess Beatrice decades later, proudly proclaiming that this same woman who was essentially exiled from royal inner circles remains one of her two most important role models, and that speaks volumes about Beatrice's character, her understanding of human complexity, and her refusal to abandon those she loves simply because society deems them unacceptable. Sarah Ferguson has spent the past 3 decades rebuilding her life and reputation, transforming herself from disgraced duchess into successful author, television personality, and philanthropist who has raised millions for various charitable causes while maintaining an extraordinarily close relationship with her ex-husband Prince Andrew despite their divorce. The fact that Andrew and Sarah still live together at Royal Lodge in Windsor, maintaining what they call a modern family structure for their daughters, demonstrates the unconventional but deeply loving environment in which Beatrice was raised. When Beatrice names her mother as a role model, she's acknowledging something that goes far deeper than royal protocol or public perception. She's recognizing the incredible resilience it takes to survive public humiliation on a global scale, to rebuild your life from the ashes of scandal, to maintain your dignity when newspapers are calling you everything from Duchess of Cork to the most hated woman in Britain, and to still show up every day as a devoted mother who puts her children's well-being above her own wounded pride. Sarah Ferguson never tried to turn her daughters against their father despite their divorce, never badmouthed the royal family publicly despite the cold treatment she received, and never allowed the media's cruelty to diminish her natural warmth and enthusiasm for life. These qualities have clearly made an indelible impression on Beatrice, who watched her mother weather storm after storm while somehow managing to keep smiling, keep working, and keep showing up for her family. The other half of Beatrice's role model equation is equally fascinating and perhaps even more telling. Queen Elizabeth II, who passed away in September 2022 at the age of 96, represented everything the monarchy stands for: duty, service, discretion, and unwavering commitment to crown and country regardless of personal cost. Throughout her unprecedented 70-year reign, the Queen demonstrated a level of dedication and self-sacrifice that few people in any walk of life could match, placing the needs of the nation above her own desires and maintaining her composure through countless family crises, political upheavals, and personal tragedies. For Beatrice to name her grandmother alongside her controversial mother reveals a sophisticated understanding that excellence comes in many forms and that we can learn different but equally valuable lessons from people who represent seemingly opposite approaches to life. From the Queen, Beatrice learned about duty, discretion, and the power of quiet dignity in the face of adversity. Elizabeth never complained publicly, never defended herself against criticism, and never wavered from her sense of obligation even when it meant making heartbreaking personal sacrifices, like the way she handled her uncle Edward VIII's abdication, her sister Margaret's forbidden romance with Peter Townsend, or the spectacular implosion of 3 of her 4 children's marriages all within the same horrible year. The Queen's famous mantra of never complain, never explain became the operating system for her entire life, and watching her grandmother navigate 7 decades of public service with such grace clearly left a profound mark on Beatrice's understanding of what strength really means. But here's where Beatrice's wisdom truly shines through in her choice of dual role models. By honoring both her mother and her grandmother, she's rejecting the false binary that suggests you must choose between authenticity and duty, between being human and being dignified, between showing emotion and maintaining composure. Sarah Ferguson represents passion, authenticity, vulnerability, and the courage to be imperfect in public. Queen Elizabeth represented discipline, restraint, tradition, and the strength to keep private matters private. Both women possess qualities worth emulating, and Beatrice's recognition of this demonstrates a maturity and nuanced thinking that many people twice her age haven't achieved. This dual allegiance also reflects the complex reality of being a modern royal in the 21st century, where the old rules about maintaining mystique and emotional distance from the public are increasingly incompatible with a society that values transparency, relatability, and authentic human connection. Beatrice herself has had to navigate this treacherous middle ground throughout her life, dealing with cruel media commentary about her appearance, her fashion choices, and her romantic relationships while simultaneously maintaining enough dignity and discretion to remain in the royal family's good graces. She's experienced her own share of tabloid brutality, from being mocked for her hat choice at the Cambridge wedding to having her past relationships dissected in excruciating detail, yet she's managed to emerge as a poised, accomplished woman who works in technology, supports numerous charities, and has built a happy marriage with property developer Edoardo Mapelli-Mazzi. The timing of Beatrice's confession about her role models feels particularly significant given everything currently happening within the royal family. With King Charles attempting to streamline the monarchy and reduce the number of working royals, with Prince Harry and Meghan's departure to California still causing reverberations years later, and with Prince Andrew's own scandals having forced him into virtual exile from public life, the York family finds itself once again on the periphery of royal power. Yet Beatrice's statement suggests she's completely comfortable with who she is and where she comes from, refusing to distance herself from her mother despite the fact that such distancing might make her more acceptable to royal traditionalists. There's something deeply admirable about Beatrice's loyalty to Sarah Ferguson, especially when you consider how easily she could have thrown her mother under the bus to gain favor with more conservative elements of the family. Princess Diana's sons have been far more willing to publicly criticize their father and the institution that they believe failed their mother, but Beatrice has taken a different path, one that acknowledges imperfection without condemning, that recognizes mistakes while still honoring the person who made them. This approach reflects a more mature understanding of human nature, one that recognizes we're all flawed individuals doing our best to navigate impossible situations, and that loyalty to family matters more than public perception. Sarah Ferguson herself has spoken emotionally about her daughter's unwavering support, describing Beatrice and Eugenie as her greatest achievements and the 2 people who kept her going during her darkest days when she felt completely rejected by the institution she'd married into and ostracized by the man who had once been her father-in-law. That kind of mother-daughter bond, forged in the fire of public scandal and media cruelty, creates a depth of connection that fair-weather relationships simply cannot match. Beatrice saw her mother at her absolute worst and chose to love her anyway, learning that redemption is possible, that mistakes don't define us forever, and that standing by someone when they're down reveals more about your character than standing by them when they're celebrated. As we watch Princess Beatrice navigate her own path through royal life, balancing her private career with occasional public duties, raising her stepdaughter and her own young daughter Sienna, and maintaining relationships across the complicated landscape of her extended family, we can see both role models' influence playing out in real time. She has her grandmother's discretion and composure combined with her mother's warmth and authenticity, creating a uniquely modern approach to being royal that may well serve as a template for future generations who must somehow reconcile tradition with contemporary expectations. The question that should captivate all of us who follow these royal stories isn't whether Beatrice made the right choice in her role models, but rather what it reveals about our own capacity for nuanced thinking in a world that increasingly demands we see everything in black and white, hero or villain, worthy or worthless, and whether we have the courage to stand by those we love when the world tells us they're unacceptable. What do you think about Princess Beatrice's choice to honor both her controversial mother and her revered grandmother as her greatest role models, and is having the courage to publicly defend someone the world has rejected while simultaneously honoring someone the world celebrated reveal more strength of character than simply choosing the safe, socially acceptable option?